Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the classic movie characters who aren't given the credit for being big antagonists in their stories. We're revealing some endings, so here's a spoiler alert.
Bad lots, both of us. Selfish and shrewd, but able to look things in the eyes and call them by their right name.
Number 10, Grandpa Joe, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. We're not the first to make the case, but it's hard to argue with the facts. Willy Wonka may be scary, but he's not a monster. Grandpa Joe, on the other hand, is a menace.
As soon as I get my strength back, I'm going to get out of this bed and help him.
Dad, in all the years you've been saying you're going to get out of that bed, I've yet to see you set foot on the floor.
Well, maybe if the floor wasn't so cold.
Let's look at the facts. He lies around all day, filling the bucket's tiny house with his tobacco smoke. Then that golden ticket arrives, and suddenly he's Gene Kelly.
'Cause I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden chance to make my way.
It's also his idea to steal those fizzy lifting drinks, nearly killing both him and his grandson and incurring the chocolatier's wrath. This may all be a series of fun contradictions not meant to be taken literally and blown completely out of proportion by the internet. Or maybe that's what Grandpa Joe partisans want us to think.
Come on, Charlie. Let's get out of here. I'll get even with him if it's the last thing I ever do.
Number 9, Benjamin Braddock, The Graduate. This naive and disillusioned suburban son does have our sympathy in the beginning. Even when he begins an affair with the manipulative Mrs. Robinson, you do feel for him as a guy who's quickly in over his head.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me. Aren't you?
Well, no, I hadn't thought of it. I feel very flattered.
But then he decides he's actually interested in Mrs. Robinson's daughter, Elaine. That's only after completely humiliating Elaine to try to kill their relationship before it starts.
I want to go home.
But can I just tell you this one thing?
What?
This whole idea, this date and everything, it was my parents' idea. They forced me into it.
Oh, that's very nice of you to tell me.
Once the truth is revealed and Elaine breaks up with him, things take even more of a turn. Ben Braddock's post-undergraduate malaise may be a giant mood, but his relentless and cruel pursuit of Elaine has a lot of unintended and unfair consequences for her.
You'll pardon me if I don't shake hands with you. I think you are filth. I think you are scum.
Number 8, James Bond, Goldfinger.
Felix, say hello to Dink.
Hi, Dink.
Dink, say goodbye to Felix. Man talk.
Look, calling James Bond a misogynist is like calling the sky blue. It's just kind of what you expect. That's to say nothing of the countless people he's murdered for his queen and country. But something about Sean Connery's incredibly callous approach, particularly in Goldfinger, really makes it hard to ignore just how ruthless he is.
What would it take for you to see things my way?
A lot more than you've got.
How do you know?
I don't want to know.
Not only does he treat the women in the movie like dogs, but he also manages to get 2 of them killed without batting much of an eye. His heavy-handed seduction of Honor Blackman's Pussy Galore, who attempts to demonstrate her martial arts skills when he won't take no for an answer, certainly doesn't help his case. But don't worry, the music is romantic.
Where do you hide your gold knuckles in this outfit?
Oh, I never carry weapons after business hours.
Yeah? So you're off duty.
I'm completely defenseless.
Number 7, Max von Mayling, Sunset Boulevard.
Are you ready, Norma?
What is the scene? Where am I?
Everyone remembers the eccentric Norma Desmond, a silent film goddess living in the past because she's afraid of the world outside. Her delusions are tragic and ultimately dangerous, but she's not living in those delusions alone.
You tell her, Max. Come on, do her that favor. Tell her there isn't going to be any picture. There aren't any fan letters except the ones you write.
That isn't true! Max!
Madame is the greatest star of them all.
The writer-protagonist can barely contain his disdain for her in his voiceover narration, but it's her faithful butler and ex-husband Max making sure she stays locked in her delusions forever. He writes the fan mail and protects her from the reality that she's been forgotten, instead of allowing her to see the truth, or at least helping her get treatment.
You must understand, I discovered her when she was 16. I made her a star, and I cannot let her be destroyed.
Number 6, Mildred Pierce. Mildred Pierce.
It's your fault I'm the way I am.
Santa Monica Police Department.
Help me.
Vida Pierce is rotten, but she's no bad seed. She was the product of a father who was emotionally absent before he was physically absent, and a pathologically devoted mother who indulged her every whim.
I want you to have nice things, and you will have. Wait and see. I'll get you everything, anything you want. I promise.
But given Vida's worst qualities and the amount of times Mildred excuses inexcusable behaviour out of maternal love and shame, perhaps she needed a little less devotion and a little more reality. Mildred even attempts to protect Vida when she murders Mildred's new husband. But making her daughter's happiness her sole purpose in life, Mildred ultimately robs her of having to develop any sense of maturity, work ethic, or responsibility.
I thought maybe in a way it was my fault. So I tried to help her. I wanted to take the blame for it.
Number 5, Blanch Hudson. Whatever happened to Baby Jane? Everyone remembers it as the story of a washed-up actress who mistreats her sister. And that is what it is. But the story's most amazing and complicated wrinkle comes at the very end.
You didn't do it, Jane. I did it myself.
When Blanche Hudson makes her confession on the beach, confessing that the accident which paralysed her was her own fault and not Jane's, it turns their entire dynamic on its head. The Hudson house became a tomb for the sisters and former actresses that Hollywood left behind.
The critics described it as brilliant. Do you remember what year you made that picture?
But of course. You must too, 1934, right after I did Moonglow.
I made a picture that year too.
Jane's mental state deteriorated under the conditions of their existence, but it was a fate that began with Blanche's initial act of attempted murder. Who knows what might have happened if the truth had been known from the beginning?
What do you mean? All this time we could have been friends.
Number 4, Glinda the Good Witch, the Wizard of Oz.
Give me back my slippers. I'm the only one that knows how to use them. They're no use to you. Give them back to me. Give them back.
Keep tight inside of them. Their magic must be very powerful, or she wouldn't want them so badly.
The wizard may just be a faker who enlists a little girl to eliminate his political rival, but it's Glinda who really lets us down.
Oh, rubbish! You have no power here. Be gone before somebody drops the house on you too.
First, she has to ask if Dorothy's a good witch or a bad witch, and then a moment later says, with some authority, that only bad witches are ugly. The real kicker is that the so-called Good Witch of the North knows the whole time that Dorothy could just click her ruby slippers together to go back home.
Then why didn't you tell her before?
Because she wouldn't have believed me. She had to learn it for herself.
We get it. There's a metaphor here for coming of age, facing life head-on, and taking responsibility for our choices. But when you take it literally, considering what Dorothy goes through to get there, it all seems a tad evil.
Did you bring your broomstick with you?
No, I'm afraid I didn't. Well, then you'll have to walk.
Number 3, Guy Woodhouse, Rosemary's Baby. Much of the menace and villainy of Rosemary's Baby is blamed on the Castavets, the eccentric next-door neighbours who turn out to be Satan worshippers. And yes, they're evil and scary, but Rosemary's husband, Guy, is the real threat.
What are you talking about? Guy's eyes are normal. What have you done to him, you maniac?
Satan is his father, not Guy.
He's not a Satanist. He's just a morally corrupt, self-obsessed coward. He spends the movie gaslighting Rosemary to keep her from finding out about his literal deal with the devil.
And I don't think you ought to read any more of that.
Just this last chapter.
Not today, honey. Look, your hands are shaking now. Come on, give it to me. You'll read it tomorrow.
Guy.
I mean it now. Give it to me.
This even includes justifying attacking her while she slept, saying it was baby night. Yeah, because that's marginally better than telling her you leased her womb to Satan. Honestly, there's no punishment good enough for him.
Hey, promise me you wouldn't be hurt. And you haven't been, really. I mean, supposing you had the baby and you lost it. Wouldn't that be the same? We're getting so much in return, Ro.
Number 2, Dirty Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry. Clint Eastwood entered several phrases into the pop culture lexicon with his boastful blustering. His Dirty Harry Callahan was just one of many police anti-heroes from the period, whose horrifying methods included violence, racism, sexism, and the violation of basic human rights.
What? Where the hell does it say you've got a right to kick down doors, torture suspects, deny medical attention and legal counsel? Where have you been? Does Escobedo ring a bell? Miranda? I mean, you must have heard of the Fourth Amendment.
Unlike many other movies like it, Dirty Harry, along with its 4 sequels, doesn't do much to challenge that. Actors Paul Newman and Burt Lancaster notably turned down the role, disliking the beliefs and messaging involved.
There is one question, Inspector Callahan. Why do they call you Dirty Harry?
Well, that's one thing about our Harry. Doesn't play any favorites. Harry hates everybody.
Indeed, it's easy to say the dangers of glamorizing such a character. To some, Callahan is a hero for his values of law and order. However, the movie outlines very explicitly the groups of people who aren't included in his vision, and it paints an unsettling picture.
You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Scarlet O'Hara and Rhett Butler, Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind is a technical marvel and a sweeping epic. To many, its protagonist, Scarlet O'Hara, is the epitome of the fiery Southern belle who will stop at nothing to get what she wants.
If I have to lie, steal, cheat, or kill, as God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again.
Scarlet is not the type to let something like war get in the way of her happiness. While that's great for her, everyone else has to suffer as a result. Rhett Butler may just be her equal in cruelty and selfishness.
Well, if I said I was madly in love with you, you'd know I was lying. But you've always said we had a lot in common.
Yes, you're right, my dear. I'm not in love with you any more than you are with me. Heaven help the man who ever really loved you.
He is a brutal husband, with plenty of his own sins to answer for. The movie may look on their lives and times through a romantic lens, but it doesn't take much to see just how racist, misogynistic, and unjustly vicious they are.
But don't worry. Your secret is safe with me.
Sir, you are no gentleman.
And you, miss, are no lady.
Did we miss your favourite undercover villain from a classic movie? Let us know in the comments.
Look, monsieur, I don't know what type of girl you think I am, but I'm not. And now I would like to return to my friends.
I thought you were bored with them. You sure looked it.
You should see me now.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.